Welcome everyone to the online class. Hope everyone is well and fine and staying home. It has been long since we are not in the formal class, but you are lucky enough to have the online class platform. So I hope you will use your time in best way and prepare yourself for the upcoming exam. Today I myself, Bilal Hussain, lecturer, Department of Economics, Dhaka City College, be with you. Today I will talk about international business course Chapter 6, the issues of international business or trade. Today we will discuss about WTO, World Trade Organization. Now let's start the class. Okay, the logo of the WTO. WTO is called the World Trade Organization. Okay, the information about the institution. The WTO is a rules-based member-driven organization. All decisions are made by the member governments and the rules are the outcome of negotiation among the members. So the WTO basically is run by some sort of rules that are made by the all member countries. So WTO is called the world largest trade organization. So WTO, World Trade Organization, is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations. At its heart are the WTO agreement negotiated and signed by the bulk of the world trading nations and ratified in their parliament. So the agreement and rules that are made by the member nation, that rules are also ratified in their respective parliament. The goal is to help producer of goods and services, exporter and importer to conduct their businesses. So the main purposes of WTO is to expand the international trade and bring the welfare across the countries, across the globe. WTO, what its purposes? The WTO objectives are rising standard of living, ensuring full employment, ensuring growth of real income and demand, expanding product and trade, sustainable development, protection of the environment. That are the objectives of WTO. So the background behind the WTO are during the Great Depression in 1930s, the international trade was badly affected and various countries imposed import restrictions for safeguarding their economies. It resulted in sharp decline in world trade. So in 1945, USA put forward many proposals for extending international trade and employment. On October 13, 1947, 23 countries at Geneva signed an agreement related to the tariff imposed on trade. So that are the background behind the WTO. Okay. World Trade Organization history. Okay. Mid 1940s, meeting in Baton Rouge, New Hampshire, created IMF and World Bank. USA tried to create ITO, that is International Trade Organization. Interim agreement, GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. When ITO failed to be approved by the USA, then GATT governed by the policy. So the GATT took place as an interim international business rules and policies. So World Trade Organization rounds of GATT, multilateral trade negotiation. So round from 1 to 5 in 1947 to 61. That round were held to reduce tariff. And round number 6 in 1964 to 67, that was called Kennedy. So that round was about tariff plus anti-dumping. And round number 7, 1973 to 1979. That round was called Tokyo round, and that was about tariff plus non-tariff barriers related round. Round means meeting or conference that was held regarding tariff, non-tariff related restriction regarding the international trade. And round number 8 that was held from 1986 to 1994, that was called Uruguay round. That was very important. That round was about tariff, non-tariff barriers, services, intellectual property rights, textiles, dispute settlement, create WTO. So finally in 1995, 1st January, the WTO was created. So in 2001, the Doha round, that was called the Doha Development Agenda. Okay, mission, function, and the principles of WTO. Mission. The mission of WTO is to improve the welfare of the people of its member countries, specifically by lowering trade barrier and providing a platform for negotiation of trade. Its main mission is to ensure that trade flows as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. So, WTO's main purpose is to reduce the barrier to expand the international trade. The function. Among the various functions, the WTO, these are regarded the analyst as the most important. The first one, it oversees the implementation, administration, and operation of the covert agreement. It provides a forum for negotiation and for settling disputes. So when there is a dispute regarding the international trade arise, then WTO call a forum or meeting to settle down the disputes among the member countries. So principle of the trade system. The WTO establishes a framework for trade policies. It doesn't define or specify outcomes. That is, it is concerned with the setting the rules of trade policy schemes. 5 principles are the particular importance in understanding both the pre-1994 GATT and the WTO. The first one is non-discrimination. Number 2, reciprocity. Number 3, binding and enforceable commitment. Number 4, transparency. And number 5, safety valves. Okay, now come to the first one, the non-discrimination. It has 2 major components. First one is the most favored nation rules. That is, there is a no discrimination in between the member nation countries. The second one is the nation treatment policy, and that is imported goods should be treated no less favorable than the domestically produced goods and services. So the goods and services that is imported from other countries should be treated as equal as domestically produced goods and services. So reciprocity, so it reflects both a desire to limit the scope of free riding that may arise because of MNF, most favored nation rules, and the desire to obtain better access of foreign market. So any country that benefits from others' tariff reduction should reciprocate to an equal extent. So that is the reciprocity of the WTO. Binding and enforceable commitment. The tariff committee, the tariff commitment made by the WTO members is a multilateral trade negotiation, and on access and on accession are the enumerated in a schedule of concession. This schedule establishes selling binding. A country can change its binding, but only after negotiating with its trading partners. So, which could mean compensating them for loss of trade. If satisfaction is not obtained, the complaining country may invoke the WTO dispute settlement procedures. Transparency. The WTO members are required to publish their trade regulation to maintain institutions allowing for the review of administrative decisions affecting trade. To respond to requests for information by other members, and to notify changes in trade policies to the WTO. This internal transparency requirement is supplemented and facilitated by periodic country-specific report, trade policy reviews, Through the trade policy review mechanism, the WTO system tried also to improve predictability and stability, discourage the use of quota and other measures to set limit the quantities of import. So the transparency means the trade related policies, rules, regulations should be open up for other member countries so that other member countries can predict or can analyze the business rules and regulations. It also discourages the quota or other barriers that are set by the members countries that also restrict the international trade. Safety valves. In specific circumstances, governments are able to restrict trade. So it is also allowed to restrict the trade by the government. The WTO's agreement permit member to take measure to protect not only the environment but also the public health, animals health, and plant health. Regarding the environment, public health, animal health, and plant health, the member country sometimes can restrict the trade. There are three types of provision in this regard. First one, articles allowing for the use of trade measure to attain non-economic objectives. Articles aimed at ensuring fair competition. Members must not use environmental protection measures as a means of disguising protectionist policies. Provision permitting intervention in trade and economic reason. Exception to the MNF, that means most favored nation principles, are also allowed for preferential treatment for developing countries, regional free trade areas, and customs union. So the developing countries, regional free trade areas, and customs union sometimes get some privileges. WTO, how does it work? Okay, set of rules. The negotiated legal rules included in the various WTO agreement cover the following topics. So the trade in goods, trade in services, trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, dispute settlement, trade policy review. That are the rules set by the WTO. Formal structure. According to WTO rules, all WTO members may participate in all councils, committees, except the appellate body, dispute settlement panel. Decisions in the WTO are made by members, not by the staff, and they are made by the consensus, not by the board. So the decision or agreements or rules are made by the members countries, not by the staff, and that are made by the consensus, not by the board. Council for Trade. Okay, the Council for Trade works under the General Council. There are three council: Council for Trade in Goods, Council for Trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, and Council for Trade in Services. Each council works in different fields. Apart from these three council, 6 other bodies report to the General Council, reporting on the issues such as trade and development, environmentalism, regional trading arrangement, and administrative issues. Okay, the council that I already said. Council, Council for Trade in Goods, Council for Trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, Council for Trade in Services. Committees. The General Council has the several different committees, working group and working parties. Committees on trade and environment, trade and development, regional trade agreements, balance of payment restrictions, budget, finance, and administration. TRIPS, Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights Agreement. The agreement requires member countries to provide patent protection to all products or process in all fields. The protection is granted subject to the following three conditions. The product or process is a new one. It contains an inventive steps. And the last third one is it is capable of industrial application for 20 years. from the grant of patent. The trade-related intellectual property rights agreements. The TRIPS agreements covers the following 7 intellectual properties: patent, copyrights and other related rights, geographical indications, industrial designs, trademarks, layout designs of integrated circuits, undisclosed information including trade secrets. Trade-related investment measures. Trade-related investment measures refers to certain condition or restriction imposed by the government in respect of foreign investment in the countries. In the late 1980s, there was a significant increase in the foreign direct investment through the world. So TRIMS are widely employed by developing countries. The agreement on TRIMS provides that no contracting party shall apply any TRIMS which is consistent with the WTO article. So the trade-related investment measures forecast the expansion of international trade. So that is all about the WTO. So this is the end of the class today. So hope you will study well and take preparation for the upcoming exam. Stay well and stay home. Stay safe. Thank you everyone.